Hey Monsterverse fans, a hearty welcome to you all, and wow, the Godzilla vs. Kong trailer just dropped and I am so hyped for this movie. Not only was it full of action, but it gave us some huge clues as to what is going on and how there is at least one more monster in this party that I believe we get two separate glimpses of. If you do love the Monsterverse, you should also check out the video I did last week that goes over some plot leaks I came across as well as what I think is going on in this movie. And I will very humbly point out that everything I said was coming in this movie seems to have been confirmed in this trailer. So first I'm going to break down all the important shots in the over 2-minute trailer and tie them back to these theories, as well as other hints that should give us an idea of why these two are going at it. I also want to talk about why it looks like Godzilla is running around destroying the world, because this was something I wanted to touch on in my last video, but I was not 100% sure of the information. It was one of those Reddit leaks that are like right 20% of the time, but this trailer does seem to confirm it, so I will share it with you now and you can decide what you think. Again, if you are as psyched as I am, smash that like button and hit the subscribe bell as well, since I will also be releasing videos on any new trailers or news that come out before the movie is released on HBO Max and in theaters March 26th, which is technically the day before my birthday, but we're just going to go ahead and call this a birthday present to me. So let's get into this action-packed trailer for Godzilla vs. Kong. Of course, I'm going to have to put up a spoiler warning here because I will be going over things that very well could happen in this movie, so just in case you have been warned. Also, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on things I discussed in my last video that I went over major plot points, so if you want to watch that too, I will link it here. The first few scenes of the trailer contain a huge spoiler, and I mean that figuratively and literally, as we see something attacking a large city, and if you freeze the frame at the 5-second mark, it looks like something very large and mechanical is crashing into the city as the inhabitants try and find cover. This is no doubt Mecha-Godzilla, who I went over in that last video as a hidden antagonist for the movie. I also went over how he is brought into this movie, so you really should go check that out. There's a voiceover of, I believe, Alexander Skarsgård character, Nathan Lind, and Rebecca Hall's character, speaking on them using Kong as a chance. We are made to believe that this is against Godzilla, but I don't think this is necessarily true, and I will get into that theory later on. We see that Kong has been captured and is on a ship being watched over by Eliza Gonzalez's character. Lynn states they need Kong as we see him walk out to meet Kong as he is restrained. He talks about a little girl who seems to have a connection with Kong. I've not heard about this character before, so I'm not 100% sure what part she will play, but Kong is obviously very protective of her, and it looks like Rebecca Hall's character has taken her in. It was cool to see this little girl walk right up to Kong and do the ET phone home thing, and the size of those chains look enormous as well. Speaking of Spielberg movies from the 80s, we next see Godzilla doing his impersonation of Jaws as he skims to the top of the water with his fins showing and destroying a nearby battleship in the process. We see a couple of ships fighting him, so I don't think this is actually before Godzilla fights Kong. I think this is earlier when Godzilla is just running around destroying stuff. Next, Kong stands ready to wait for Godzilla and taunts him to get him to rise out of the water. Next, we see the first full shot of Godzilla in his fight against Kong as he rises up and slithers his way aboard this aircraft carrier, and then Kong greets him with a right hook and then pushes him right off the same carrier. We then get some quick shots of the fight in which it looks like Monarch is trying to help Kong, and Godzilla destroys the aircraft carrier from underwater using his atomic breath, which is also very cool to see. This causes Kong to jump off the ship just in time, and I think this is one of the many instances in this trailer that accentuates the intelligence of Kong compared to the other monsters. Next, we see Godzilla swim away, and we meet Damien Bashir's character, who states that these are dangerous times. He is almost definitely one of the main players in the Apex organization, which is an evil offshoot of Monarch. He is speaking with actor Shun Oguri, playing a character named Ren Shirazawa, who is the son of Ken Watanabe's character from the first two Godzilla movies. He is standing in front of a panel, and if you look behind the letters on the screen, it sure looks like there's a big monster back there to me. This would seem to confirm that young Shirazawa is responsible for the creation of Mecha-Godzilla, which we see earlier in the trailer as the monster everyone is running away from. Next, we see Godzilla rampaging through a neon city. Kyle Chandler returns after his appearance in Godzilla King of the Monsters. He says that Godzilla is hurting people and they do not know why. I think I do, and it could be one of the two things or a combination of both that all tie back to the Apex Corporation. The word apex literally means the top predator of a food chain, and I believe this is what this movie will be about. In the end of Godzilla King of the Monsters, Godzilla was the undisputed king after his defeat of Ghidorah and Rodan. But I believe that Apex has built a new contender and that Godzilla senses its presence, and that's why it is in the city looking for Shirazawa. Or, Apex could be using the sonar technology shown in the last movie to force Godzilla into becoming enraged, thus creating the need for a cybernetic titan in the form of their product, Mechagodzilla. Let me know in the comments, how do you think Mechagodzilla is going to be brought into this movie? Next, we see a conspiracy board, and let me tell you, whenever these pop up in a trailer, they're like a YouTuber's dream. The headlines are all pretty visible and seem to tell the story of the first three movies, but it's the post-it notes that really give away the biggest nuggets of information. Whoever this board belongs to, and I believe that it will be either Miley Bobby Brown's character or Julian Dennison's character, they are obviously trying to tie Apex to Godzilla, as there are many post-it notes with Apex facilities on them and then a number. Towards the bottom left on the board, there's a post-it note with a list of things on it under the words "What's next?" and then Apex facility, government building, and the last two I cannot make out completely, but look to say water something, and the fourth says P or something. But next to this post-it note is the largest spoiler, which I believe is an infrared depiction of the Hollow Earth, which I mentioned would be a major plot point for this story in my earlier video. There are also various other post-it notes that depict possible sightings of Godzilla as well as attacks, but on the top of the board there's one that shows Godzilla attacking an Apex facility, which seems to confirm that he is looking for them and maybe specifically Mecha-Godzilla. On the bottom there's a headline that reads Antarctica, which is probably referencing the battle with Ghidorah in the last movie. But let me know in the comments, was there anything else on the board that I missed that could be important? Next, we see and hear Miley Bobby Brown state that there is something provoking Godzilla and they are not seeing it, which would line up with my theory that is something suspicious from the Apex Corporation. And notice they are in what looks like the same neon lit city that we saw earlier. The man they are talking to is actor Brian Tyree Henry, whose character Hayes may work for Apex. He seems to want to help them get to the bottom of what is going on too. Next, we see Kong back at what looks like Skull Island, and Rebecca Hall's voice can be heard talking about an ancient war between the Titans. And if you remember, at the end of the last Godzilla movie, we saw cave paintings of creatures that look like Kong and Godzilla fighting. Then we get some cool shots of Kong with his brand new weapon, which looks to be an axe made out of a shard of Godzilla's fins. It looks like he is underground when he builds this, so perhaps this is him creating the weapon in the Hollow Earth, which is where he went after his movie Skull Island. It also looks like the handle is a bone, so it would be extra badass if this were the femur of another Titan that Kong created a weapon with. Again, showing his intelligence and resourcefulness. Next, we see Kong take on two flying titans that have not been seen on screen but were revealed in the toys to be named Warbat, and I hypothesize that they may actually have been created by Apex using genetic engineering, since they look to be similar yet very much smaller versions of the Ghidorah monster with similar heads and wings. We then get a face-off between Kong and Godzilla, and it looks like Kong does not have any restraints on, so this has to be later in the film. We then get some more shots of the fight between Kong and the Warbats. I'm not sure where this blue energy is from, but for a second to me it looks like Kong was riding on Godzilla's back. We then see Kong hit Godzilla in the head with something in the same neon city. I think it is weird that Godzilla is looking down before he gets hit, like somehow he was distracted. Amongst some more shots, we hear Rebecca Hall say, "Kong bows to no one." And that one line, I think, is a clue as to how these two will work together and why they are fighting. Once I am done talking about the trailer, I will go into that theory. Next, we see the coolest scene in which Kong is charging at Godzilla with his axe and jumps at him, only for Godzilla to shoot his atomic breath and Kong to block it with his axe and smash him over the head with it. Okay, this was an awesome trailer that did give a lot away. My theory as to how these two titans will coexist is that Godzilla and Kong will need to fight to establish an alpha. It is ingrained in their DNA, and that is what Monarch will learn after traveling into the Hollow Earth, seeing how these creatures are destined to fight one another. After they fight, I believe that Godzilla will win and continue his search for Mecha-Godzilla. Kong will go back to Skull Island, make the axe, and perhaps absorb some more radiation and come back and defeat Godzilla in the Neon City. With each winning one battle, this stalemate will allow them to work together to defeat Mecha-Godzilla, which I think attacks the same city the next morning, and that is what we see at the beginning of the trailer. But let me know in the comments, what do you think of this trailer, and how do you think this movie will go down? You know, I hear a lot of people talking up Godzilla like he is Conor McGregor, and that Kong doesn't have a chance, but hey, even Conor isn't what he used to be, so if you got Kong in this fight, let your voice be heard in the comments. Also, if you're watching WandaVision, I'm doing like 2 videos a week on them too, and we'll have a new one out in a couple of days. So smash that subscribe button for that as well. I will see you all next time on What Did I Miss?